Welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, a podcast all about growing your network and building your brand through traditional and digital networking techniques. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven and CEO of Marshall Communications. Stay tuned for this week's episode, and thanks for listening. Welcome, PR Maven Nation, to this week's episode, one of our mini episodes, a quick and informative look at what the ski industry can teach us about high-tech, high-touch PR. The podcast is presented by Marshall Communications, creator of the 65-step Marshall Plan process. For more information, visit marshallpr.com. And on the website under PR Maven, you will also find information about my two books, PR Works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand. This week, I will be sharing my Forbes Agency Council article, What the Ski Industry Can Teach Us About High-Tech, High-Touch PR. So let's dive right in. We just completed another ski season, and what a wonderful ski season it was. According to one report, more than 20 million Americans participated in downhill skiing, snowboarding, and snowmobiling during the 2015-2016 winter season. These winter sports enthusiasts will contribute an estimated $20 billion to the U.S. economy through consumer spending at ski resorts, hotels, restaurants, bars, grocery stores, and gas stations. Winter sports is big business and growing by the year. As ski resorts welcome visitors far and wide, I continue to marvel at the ski industry's ability to get the word out about events at those resorts and daily weather and ski conditions. Ski resorts like Sugarloaf, my personal favorite, and where I worked in 1984 as the Assistant Communications Director, release a so-called mountain report on a daily basis, explaining not only why or how many trails are open, but also the mileage and acreage of those trails and where there is a new machine-made or natural snowfall. Keeping seasons pass holders, condominium owners, employees, community members, and local businesses in the know about conditions, upcoming events, staff changes, and other newsworthy items is vital to building a sense of community around each resort. It's a very competitive business, so every resort is trying to build a loyal base of skiers and riders who will consider its resort to be their home mountain. That's what ski resorts do year in and year out. Sugarloaf's media team, for example, regularly publishes and promotes blog posts on resort conditions with a personal touch. They even maintain real-time webcams at the base of the lifts so customers can watch what's going on from their homes on live YouTube. All brands can learn from this practice. How can you serve your audience by providing ongoing online updates on your social media platforms of choice by email or even, wait for it, snail mail that are helpful, useful, educational, or even entertaining? Test various messages, methods of delivery, and intervals to see what generates the most engagement and feedback. Most Sugarloafers I know are accustomed to getting their report each morning when they wake up. Whether they plan to ski or not, they are so engaged with the mountain that they just like to know. If they have to go to work, it makes for great water cooler conversation. And I know personally that most skiers and riders are pretty obsessed with the weather, actually, and they love to talk about it. Back in the day before social media, we used the mail and media relations to stay connected to our targeted audiences. We did everything possible to garner earned media, that is, coverage from news outlets. For instance, it was always a race to open first, and your ski resort needed to be the one ringing in the new season. This year, Killington Resort secured the publicity for the first to open in Vermont. Sunday River was the first to open in Maine. Then the race will resurface again in the spring as ski resorts scramble to be the longest to stay open. Trust me, it is a race, and it teaches you how to hustle for results. I remember going to New York City to meet with reporters and editors from the major ski publications, but Sugarloaf wouldn't book appointments in advance. When you're in your 20s, you don't have as many inhibitions. We could just go to 2 Park Avenue where ski and skiing magazines were located, and my boss would tell me to stand at the sink in the ladies' room and wash my hands just to see if I could spark a conversation with another writer at the next sink over. I would say, "Hi, I'm Nancy from Sugarloaf. Have you been to Sugarloaf?" Then I would proceed to regale them with funny stories about the resort and what makes it so unique, all in the ladies' room. On a few occasions, that face to face interaction led to top tier media coverage, believe it or not. If you plan to do media visits in any market, it's advisable to first contact the media outlet and ask for a coffee meeting or a desk side visit. Prepare your messages and keep it short. Journalists are always on deadline, so do what you can to be helpful and concise. Today, we have the luxury of creating our own content and not depending so much on the news media to get the word out. Take Vail Resorts, which now operates dozens of locations around the world. Vail CEO Rob Katz hosts a podcast called Epic by Nature, on which he interviews people in various resort jobs from ticket sales to grooming and dining. His goal is to communicate the complexities of the resort business and the ski industry writ large. And communicate he does, using new podcasting technologies to reach all kinds of new audiences. Ski resorts find themselves at the intersection of personalized service and technological development, positioning themselves to be high tech and high touch to compete successfully. This means leveraging the latest technologies, but also maintaining that personal touch to leave people satisfied with their experience and willing to come back. Face to face interaction still matters, just like it did for me in New York in the ladies' room. As a matter of fact, I decided I wanted to work in the ski industry when I was only 12 years old, and my family got snowed in at the base lodge of Jay Peak, Vermont. My father, who was famously frugal, actually bought my mom, brothers, and me all a round of beverages. We usually brought our own in a cooler. And we danced to the sounds of a live band in the base lodge as a snowstorm howled outside. Right at that magical moment, I was having more fun than I had ever had in my life. And I decided that someday I wanted to work at a ski resort. Working in the ski industry taught me about the power of combining in person and high tech communications, feeling alive and free while soaring down the slopes in the cold winter air, followed by wonderful times with family and friends after a day on the slopes, is something that skiers and snowboarders live for. And it's something I've always been willing to work for too. For more insight, get access to my latest book, Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand, by visiting prmaven.com/giveaway and download a free copy today. And here is my friend, Mike Duguay of Thomas College, to share how PR works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand have helped him.
After reading PR Works, I really started to think about how marketing actually works. And I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but what I realized is that each platform nowadays that we use out there in digital media and social media has its own nuance and also quirks to it. And understanding how they're used is exceedingly important. Because when you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. And you can't approach it that way in marketing. And that's where I think Nancy's brilliance really shined in PR Works. I think Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand is really sort of the manifesto of understanding that there's many different levels to marketing. It's on your personal side of your brand, how actually you express yourself through business, but also what people hear you saying and what they see out there in the public eye as well. So I think what's really important there, that's really the blueprint of how you go about using these new social media platforms, but also to express who you are as a human being. Because people want to see you authentically and genuinely working with not only what you do, but also with the customers. And Nancy, on a personal level, I think that's who she is. She embodies that approach.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the PR Maven podcast. I invite you to share a review of the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also join the PR Maven Nation on Facebook. It's free to join, and it's a great community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to learn and grow from one another. If you use an Alexa device, use your Alexa app to search the skills and games section to find and enable the PR Maven podcast flash briefing. This will give you access to exclusive content and more PR and marketing advice. Thanks again for listening, and have a great rest of your week, PR Maven Nation.